Hey, it's Karlie,
Hey, it's Shamina.
and we're
Emotional.
Um,
Welcome. This is our second to last episode of season 4. Is that what season 4 is?
I think so.
Holy crap. It's crazy.
I know.
So before we jump in, we want to thank our patrons, Joanne Stewart, Kevin Gallagher, and Therese Gallagher. Thank you guys for your continued support. If you want to be another patron or somebody wants to be a patron, check out our Patreon page. If not, then check out our socials, Instagram at Emotionful Pod, our YouTube channel, Emotionful Podcast, or Facebook, Emotionful Podcast. Comment below, DM us, like us on Facebook, all the things we thoroughly enjoy. What?
Subscribe.
Yeah. Please do.
But now, are you guys ready to be full of emotion?
We have to tell them what the topic is and then ask them if they're full of emotion.
Oh my God. Okay.
So today's episode is about life transitions.
And we're going to bring it back, baby.
Bring it back?
Yeah.
Like throwback?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're going to rewind in time. I need to sit up straight. Okay, now are you guys ready to get emotionful?
Are you?
Are you? Okay, so I'm gonna make a note and then I want Shamina to dive in. So I literally just said this to Shamina as we were discussing, but I think it's funny how I can remember being younger and my parents would like be out or whatever and someone would babysit us and they'd be like in their 20s or something. And I'd be like, wow, like you're an adult. And now that I'm in my late 20s, I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm considered an adult to society standards, but
well, now we look at people in their 40s and we're like, wow, you're an adult.
Well, I'll say yes and no for me. Like, I think now that I've kind of gotten to this age, I'm like, we're all just winging it and we have no idea what we're doing. And I truly believe that we're all winging it because my parents are like in their 50s, 60s. And my dad, like, we had a conversation a while ago. He was like, I can't believe I'm sitting on the couch right now with my grandson and my daughter, and I'm in my 60s. He's like, I thought I was like, where did the time go? And I just think that's like, every day we get up and we just do the best we can. And it's just on repeat, man. And then you're 27 and you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I guess I'm doing it. And so we're gonna talk about I would say like some significant transitions that we feel.
Yes.
We feel. But Shamina's gonna go.
So this is per Karlie's request. Can I just put that out there that Karlie's like, Shamina, I want you to talk about this. So I'm talking about this because Karlie asked. I'm very tired today. So if I'm low energy, that's why. It's been a long day, long week. We'll get into that later. So,
but I would like to say that I want Shamina to talk because I don't want people to think that I find things purposefully for her not to talk. So I'm trying to pull it out of her. So y'all welcome. Go, Shamina.
Welcome. So the I don't even know, the first real life transition I think I experienced was going to college. And we grew up.
What about moving to Florida? Or you don't consider that like significant for you? You were too young?
I think it was significant from like a developmental standpoint, but I really can't remember. I mean, I made like a friend, I think the week that we moved here, and I can't even remember like how we became friends, but I think I acclimated pretty well. But my memory is like super foggy because I was like 6 turning 7 when we moved. So
Yeah.
not much memories, but I'd have to ask my mama. I did go to 6 different elementary schools though. Fun fact.
Jeez. I did not know that. That's a lot.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. And then when I think about it from like a developmental piece, I'm like, oh my God, like how did I even have friends? Because it just, it'd be like a year or two and then I'd switch schools or we'd move across the country and make new friends. So I think in my like conscious life, adulthood life, the one of the first big life transitions was, going to college. And I was a very studious person in high school. So I knew I was going to college very early on. And my brother had gone to the University of Central Florida. So naturally, little sister must go to the University of Central Florida. So I know I was very against the University of South Florida because that was almost considered like the 13th grade for like our area. And I was like, ugh, that's not a university.
Whoa.
30 minutes away. And then that's where I ended up transferring to and where I have my graduate degree from. So
I'm offended.
you never heard of that?
I guess, but I honestly just went to USF because I didn't want to go to college. But my parents were like, you are going, you're not taking a year off. And I was like, fine. And in my head, me applying to the closest school possible was rebelling against them. I don't know. Anyways, continue your story.
You want me to go? I'm going to live at home and I'm going to stay here.
Literally, but you finish.
So the University of Central Florida, or UCF, it was the only school that I applied to. And for anybody who is looking to apply for a college or any younger demographic, do not apply to just one school. That's one of my biggest, I wouldn't say it's a regret because I enjoyed like the process, but if I could have gone back and changed it, I would have applied to other schools or like out of state schools, anything other than just like, I have this one place that I want to go to. So I got in and I moved to Orlando. I lived with my brother and his girlfriend, who is now his wife, but girlfriend at the time. They had a spare bedroom, and I was like, oh, this will be like a really good transition. I can just like pay them for like rent or what have you. And I know them, like this will help me. I don't really like change. So moving to a completely different city, not knowing anybody and being away from my family, because I was very close with them at the time, that was like everything that Shamina was afraid of. So I can remember my mom, like they had come and helped me unpack all my stuff and move everything, and then they were getting ready to leave, and I remember just like hugging her and crying, and I was like, please don't leave me here, like please don't go, I can't do this. But before that, I was so excited, I had all my stuff packed, I was like, I'm going to college, that's what we're gonna do. And it was hard. I think being in a place that I didn't know, I wasn't on, like, I didn't dorm on campus. So it wasn't like I was forced to meet people my own age. I had one friend and I met her at orientation. And the only reason that I met her there was because she was brave enough to ask if she could sit with me while we were waiting for orientation. Like we were waiting for the doors to open. I was sitting alone at a table and she's like, hey, can I sit here? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then we've been friends ever since. Which is pretty cool. And she's very, very shy, just like I am. So the fact that she even like came up to me and said something is just crazy. So, and she commuted. She lived in, what is that, the East Coast? She lived like off in the East Coast. So she would commute. So she wasn't even in the Orlando area. So I had a really, really, really hard time transitioning. because I was away from my family. I was away from my friends. I wasn't really involved in school. The only thing that I did was like go to class and come home to where I was living in Orlando. And then I would literally come back home every weekend. Or there was one semester, I think it was my spring semester, freshman year. I had my schedule. So I only had class on Tuesday and Wednesday, and that was it. And I wasn't working at the time. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'd go back home and I'd stay home, and then I'd drive back to Orlando just for my classes because I was like, nope, we're not doing this. So I ended up making the decision to then transfer to USF after that spring semester.
So you were at UCF for a whole year.
Yeah. And the only reason that I think I could have transferred was because I think you need 60 credits completed to be able to transfer. And because I did dual enrollment when we were in high school, that gave me the credits that I needed. Otherwise, I think I would have been stuck at UCF.
Well, you would probably had to apply to USF instead of just doing a transfer.
Yeah, probably.
I remember, because I feel like you were always in Tampa. Yeah. But, I think for me, you're bringing me back, I was thinking about my orientation, but I think for me, a big transition was Catholic school to public school, middle school to high school, because I went to Catholic school, kindergarten, 8th grade. And I don't remember now, but for the longest, I could tell you the exact outfit I wore on my first day of high school. I'm pretty sure it was a pair of jeans and a light blue, like V-neck. And then I had, the tank top, the layering thing was a thing. And I had like a tank top that had like little lace at the bottom.
Ooh, fancy.
And I remember, because before I wore uniform. So when I went into high school, I only had 2 pairs of jeans. So I would rotate them. That's all that I had. And then I had some, shirts. I had more shirts because obviously that you could tell if you repeated often. Obviously, then by senior year, I had so many clothes. But I think that was a big transition because no one from my Catholic school went to the public school that I went to. And the only people that I knew was one person who did go to my Catholic school, but then she went to public school for middle school, and she ended up going to my high school. And then I knew a couple people because I would play on outside basketball leagues, but I didn't have any classes with them. So I just remember but at that time, I just embraced all of that. I was just like, well, I would see people with blue hair and I would just be like, oh my, I just loved it. I just would soak it in. And then I can remember college orientation, and I met one of my friends that I met her at orientation. And it's funny because she came up to me and she said she came up to me because I was kicking it with all the orientation leaders, and she thought that I was cool, and so she wanted to have classes with me. So she came up to ask to have a class with me. And so we planned, I think we scheduled to have 2 or 3 classes together. And so then I was like, okay, give me your number. And so then I the first day of class, I was like, yo, let's meet outside the library and we'll go to class together. And I mean, we're still friends to this day, but it's funny because she was like, I always thought it was so weird. Why do you want, I always would, because she lived with her cousins on campus and I was commuting at that time. And she said that she told her cousins, I don't get why what was that? Oh, she told her cousin, she was like, I don't get why she wants to meet me before class. And I was like, listen, if we wouldn't have met before class, we probably would have never met up. So you're welcome, because now we're friends. But it was just so funny. That, college, high school, I was the one that if anyone was nervous or they'd be like, Karlie, go do it. I'd be like, okay, what do you need me to, what do you want me to ask? What do you want me to say? I got you. And now I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. I was always like the shy one that did not talk to other people. And I don't even think I made like that freshman year at UCF. I don't think I made any new friends, like talking to like people in my classes or um like anything like that. I would hang out with my one friend that I made at orientation if she would like be in town or what have you. And that was basically it. Cause I was like, what do I say to people? Like, how do I make friends? I don't know.
I didn't meet any people. Like now that I think about it, the people that I met were from people that I'd already known, and I just created a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I talked to people, but like my close relationships and the ones that have lasted are with people that I met them from someone that I had already had a relationship established with. And it's funny because I think on so for me at USF orientation you had to spend the night. And I remember, like I said, at first I didn't want to go to college, so I was so against it. And then I went to orientation and it was just so fun that I was like, Mom, I want to live in a dorm now. Like, what can we do? But it was obviously too late. It was like a week before classes were starting. So, but one of the girls that was like my dorm mate for the night, we ended up having, oh no, I'm sorry. It was another girl that I ended up getting close to during orientation. Me and her ended up sharing a bed orientation night because my roommate like invited all of the guys from our group into our room, and it was like midnight 1 a.m. and I'm like, bro, we gotta get up early, like we still have a day tomorrow. And so the other girl was like, you can like stay in my bed with me if you want. And I was like, hell yeah. So I remember we shared a freaking twin sized bed. I mean, I probably didn't get much sleep. Found that, my bra. But probably didn't get much sleep. Got crummies, bro. I was gonna say something else, but I lost track because
You're nasty.
I don't even know what the heck this is that I ate. I don't
Saving a
know.
little snacky for later.
You know how I do, but I think it's
Anyway,
funny.
I didn't get much sleep at orientation.
Yeah, but I didn't really stay close with her. I mean, you know, Facebook friends, but yeah, I feel like when I was younger, I always embraced change, you know. I think
Yeah.
as I'm older, I the goal is to embrace it, but I don't know, I guess is it really that when you get older you get wiser, or is it just when you get older you have more experiences that make you kind of second guess? Cuz I was just talking about this a couple days ago with one of my other friends of like when we were 2021, we were wild. Like I'm surprised we're still alive, and now we're 27 and we're like I don't know if I should be doing this because of the possibility. You know, it's like now we like have like these life lessons that like now we're like a little more cautious. We're like 21, we're like just blowing with the wind, just like, hey, whatever happens. And now I'm like, I cannot believe I did that, you know?
Yes. And again, I think that's why we like gravitated paths, because like you went on that path and I was still on the I can't get in trouble. I don't do anything wrong. Like I'm not gonna I don't do those things. Like let me be home by like 9:30, 10 o'clock kind of thing. But I think one is we get older and you know our frontal lobe, which is the executive functioning and reasoning part of the brain, isn't even fully formed till 25. So I think that makes a huge difference because that rules like impulses and like, hey, you like shouldn't do that, that's bad for you, and you're like, whatever, it's fine. But also to me, I think experience is the key to wisdom, because if you never have any different life experiences, how can you ever, you know, give wisdom or give advice or you know, kind of reflect on these things. So to me, you need life experience in order to have wisdom, which I think now being older, you know, we reflect back on our lives and we think, oh, like how that was bad, shouldn't have done that, or like that was really reckless, don't know how I survived that incident kind of thing. But those are the experiences, and so if we grow up, we have our own families, being able to kind of teach our kids like, hey, don't do this. This is bad, kind of thing.
I agree, but I feel like it's almost too, I mean, not everything, but certain things you have to learn on your own, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely.
But no, I 100% agree with that. I also think, yeah, just like the more life experiences you have in whatever capacity, I think brings you wisdom, but also like brings you like education and awareness, and I guess that all is wrapped up in wisdom. I don't know, but I just think like um
What the heck was that?
I saw a dog hair on my keyboard and I wanted to get it off real quick.
Carly's blowing out the candles.
I think back to places that I've traveled, and like for me, I think traveling to other countries or other cultures is very humbling. And I wish traveling was more affordable, that everyone could do that and have those experiences, because I truly feel like the traveling that I've done in my past has opened my eyes, and and it's humbling in the sense of like it's grounding, of like not feeling entitled and things like that, and just not even any of that, but just like having the open-mindedness to know that not everyone thinks the way that you think, and that's okay, because life still goes on for these people.
Yeah. That was a big thing I think I took away in college, is just the different melting pot of people, and being able to learn and having these different experiences, because our high school, we grow up in this town, we usually only hang out with people in that area around there, and that's it. And then we go to college, and for some of us, we go out of state, or we go out of the county or into another city, and we really get to learn more about the rest of the world and our lives. And if we get the experience to travel to a different state or travel to a different country, then it really does open our eyes of there's so much more to us than just what's happening in our kind of little bubble. And as young adults, not even young adults, but like teenagers, young adults, like that age, it's really hard to think about the bigger picture, or, not being selfish in the sense of the word of like, oh, well, other people do this, or this is kind of occurring, if you don't have those types of experiences, because you just genuinely don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, like I do think that like just a lot of people that I experienced in college, I was like, wow, like we come from totally different lives and backgrounds. And like I said, some of those people are still very close. I'm very close with. And I think that we have such a close relationship still because we respect each other's differences. We talk about it, and we talk about like, like this is why it is for me, and this is why I think this way and they think that way, and whatever. But at the end of the day, even if it's not the same, we respect each other. But I think because we have those conversations, it helps open our eyes to being like, oh, like that's the real, like if I wasn't even willing to hear your way, I probably wouldn't learn. And maybe I realized your way is actually better, and I just never even thought about that, and now I'm going to adapt that way, like. So yeah, I like that. I like learning about different things, and I try not to always think that my way is the best way or that I'm right. Sometimes I do, but but I think that I'm willing to hear people out and them explain me otherwise, depending on their tone.
Yes, depending on the approach.
Absolutely. Don't come at me that you're automatically better, because then I'm gonna be like, no, I'm better, like, or my way is better, whatever.
Yeah, I think college is just a different experience, and now with the pandemic, they offer like doing it online. I have a couple of clients who just solely do college online, whether it's from university or like local community colleges and what have you. And It's just a very different experience.
Honestly, I'm going to say I think doing college online is unfortunate. Like, don't get me wrong, I had a couple classes that were online and it was nice, but the whole college experience, that's hard. And I think I had a couple people um one of my old neighbors, he when he went away, it was like during COVID, and so all of his college classes were online, and he ended up like leaving because it was just very difficult. He said it was really hard for him to like adjust and transition into it because like I mean, I guess if your high school is online, it might be easier, but think about it, like if your high school is all in person and then you go to college and it's all online, like that's really hard to adapt because you kind of have to set like your own agenda and like okay, I need it, I mean, I guess you have to do that in person too, but I think going to class in person kind of makes it more real,
Oh yeah.
like because there are some online classes. I know I had some online classes in college that like the due date was just the end of the semester for everything. So it was up to me because it would be like, like discussion post papers. And it was just like, this all just has to be submitted at the end of the semester. So it was up to me to kind of like spread it out and
Yeah.
make it doable for me. So if you don't have that I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean.
Self-discipline,
Yeah.
the structure or the organizational skills.
Honestly, I was such a procrastinator in college. Like, I can remember so many nights I would have a paper due like the next day and I would just be like cramming. I remember one time I had this raggedy laptop that it had to be plugged in to work, but it also, you remember that?
Yeah.
But it also, you could not move the cord because if you jiggled the cord, it would shut off.
Yep, I remember.
I remember I had a paper due. I was like probably halfway, and I don't remember if autosave was on or not. My roommate went to like step over me, and she accidentally hit the cord, and my computer just shut off and went black. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, this is due tomorrow. And they were like, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's not you. It's not you. I was like, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. This is okay. We're gonna work through this. But I was just like, oh my God. Because like literally you would tap in, it was just, and I'd be like, God. And I'd be like, so whenever anyone would be near me, I'd be like, please don't touch my laptop. Don't touch my laptop. Oh God, I was so sensitive with that thing. I don't know when I finally updated it, but I had that baby for a hot minute before finally I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this.
Well, isn't it crazy that we spend 12 years of our lives getting ready for college, and then we spend however long our college career is, and that's a whole transition from like high school to college, and then you graduate. That's the thing that you have been working towards forever, whether it's bachelor's, master's, PhD, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to live life without school, which is what we've been doing for 20 plus years, most of us. And now transitioning into being in the workforce, taking care of other things in our lives. What do we fill our time with? And for me, I think that was another really challenging transition of graduating from graduate school and trying to adjust to like real life. And I just kept thinking, is this it? Like this is what it is. This is what I worked so hard for, and this is how it goes. And I talk with my therapist a lot about, once I graduated, it was get licensed. And that was the next goal, like get licensed, get licensed, get licensed. Well, I've been licensed for over a year now. And now I'm in, kind of this other transition phase of now what? Because I was so like goal oriented and goal driven for, basically all of my life. And now it's, what do I do? How do I live? How do I live more according to values instead of, okay, well, I need to work towards this goal or this goal or this goal, because that shit is exhausting, let me tell you.
Well, I I think that that's where like we fail as a society, is that we like program our children to for their drive to be towards success instead of like what's the life you want to live, you know, like how do you want to live your life, and then find a job that fits that, you know, or a school. But I think also, you know, in the US they push to go to university because that's where they're going to make money off of us. But they don't talk to us about like technical colleges or just apprenticing at places and building up. And I feel like in high school especially, we're not taught enough about all of the jobs that are out there, allow that, you know, that we could do. Like we don't know barely any of the options because they push the math, engineering, science. Not that that's a bad thing, because like we want to be successful, but like I want to enjoy what I do, you know. And I think for me, like I think I struggled too, so much so that after bachelor's, after a year, I was like, I'm going back to school because I was like, I don't like this. I'm out. And I think for me, I wish more jobs did it this way. And I know that some jobs it's not realistic to do it this way, but I will say my last job, it was most definitely realistic to do it this way. And they just don't, because they want the control over you in a corporate America. But why don't they make your jobs goal oriented like school? You know, like I don't care what you do during your week, but at the end of the week, your paper better be submitted. You know, like I know with my job now, it's kind of not like that. I mean, it is, because it'll be like, hey, a project is starting on this date. You know what needs to be done to get that project done. Do what you got to do, you know? But my old job, we would have monthly goals. And but we would like, I'm like, bro, if I'm meeting my monthly goals, why do you care if I left work 2 hours early? You know, like obviously I never did that, but that was my mindset. Like, why do I have to come in on Wednesday if I'm already on track to meet my goals and I need to take the day off? You know, like for me, I feel like it shouldn't be like a PTO. It should be like you make your own schedule, and as long as you are meeting your quotas, I don't care, you know. But obviously CEOs in corporate America just wants to control people, and so we have to be little robots and work 9 to 5. But
so check out our previous podcast episode about the 40-hour work week, where we dive in on the fun dynamics of that and how much Karlie and I both love that.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think transitioning from college to like the real world is very difficult, especially because we're not educated enough on it. We're not educated on so many real life things. Like I'm 27, I still barely know how to do my taxes. Every year I dread it, and I'm just like, fingers crossed I did it right this year. Like, you know, and there's just so much more, like buying a house, building credit, like mental health. Like I just feel like, you know what, no offense to your mom, I don't remember a damn thing about calculus, pre-calculus. What was that other one that I took with a lot of words?
Probability and
Statistics. I don't remember anything, and I guarantee I will never use it again. And you know what, my job now, when I have to add, I got a freaking calculator on me all the time.
You won't have a calculator on you at all times.
All the time I have a calculator. You know what? I just pop that baby open and I do my basic math on my calculator so that I don't have to use my brain, and it works. But instead, we were forced to take 4 years of math, no years of mental health education, no years of real life education. But I took chemistry and I took anatomy, and you know what? I still don't know shit about my body. I don't know how many bones I have. And I don't care. As long as they're not broken, I don't care how many I have.
I remember when I took the GRE, which is what is this? You have a graduate record exam. It's like this standardized test that you have to take to get into graduate school. And they
not all. Just putting that out there, because I didn't have to take it.
You didn't have to take the GRE?
No, baby. I specifically chose the social work program because the GRE is not required. I
What?
did not
Oh my
pass.
gosh. I had this like fat ass stack of flashcards. I used to study for that. Oh my God. Anyway, there was an essay portion on the GRE, and my essay topic was, should students be required to take like additional like classes that were outside of their major, or just, just solely taking the classes that they were interested or associated with their major. And my argument was like, yes, you need to take all of these classes. It makes you a well-rounded individual, and you get to know a little bit, and you get to kind of explore. But I agree with you. I think our system is broken, especially in our fundamental years, because it's so structured, it's
Mhm.
so regimented. I mean, we're literally conditioned from the age of 5 to sit down, raise your hand, um, ask permission to go to the bathroom, like these kinds of things, which I understand. Like, you need basic kind of conduct when you're in a classroom setting or just in public in general, but there's not a lot of independence, there's not a lot of autonomy that gets taught
Mhm.
in these schools. And so when you transition into college, where you have to show up and figure most things out on your own, I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is because we go from such a structured environment in high school to very unstructured in college. So much flexibility, so much autonomy. I mean, you pick your own classes, you pick your own schedule, you got to find where everything is. You have to kind of create this organization, and you get up and go to the bathroom whenever you want. You can,
Mhm.
I remember when I went to college, the best thing was like I could wear whatever I wanted. I would show up in like a tank top and shorts, and like that was so exciting to me, because I was like, nobody's gonna dress code me. It's hot. I don't want to have to wear pants if I don't need to. I could wear workout clothes. I could wear my pajamas, and it was fine.
I can remember people at my college not wearing shoes. They would walk campus and go to class with no shoes. And also, I would like to know, you could leave class if you wanted and not come back, not even just go to the bathroom. And a lot of classes, professors didn't require you to come to class as long as you passed the work. And I think also you make a good point that, like, you're right. Like, when we're younger, we're almost we're
Conditioned
conditioned to, like, follow the man, like, not
to
have our
be
own free
obedient.
thinking. Yeah. And it's like, oh, like, don't get me wrong, like, again, like you said, like, we need to learn respect and things like that, but also I want to think for myself, and not do something because you say, like, oh, you're the teacher, you say, like, again, there's a balance. I'm not saying like be disrespectful and things like that, but also I think it's unfortunate, the way the schools are nowadays, like public schools, because it's so based just on passing those standardized tests. And so it's almost like these kids are just like, and like you said, they don't get breaks. Like, you shouldn't be an 8-year-old in a classroom for 6-7 hours a day and you don't even get like 30 minutes to run around, and things like that. And I remember when I was a substitute, I would do a lot of stuff outside with them because I'm like, it's a nice day, why not, like, let's just sit outside, why do we have to be in this classroom all day? But it is sad because it's like, I don't think that's allowed anymore, and it's just like, like, we're not, I just don't think we're doing it right. I just don't think we are.
Well, even with the pandemic, that's drastically changed things. I remember I had one client who's a teacher, and they took away recess for kids, and she was teaching kindergarten. Can you imagine, not like kindergartners not having recess, or they didn't have their specials, they didn't go to music class, they didn't go to PE, they just stayed in that room with that teacher because of COVID. And I have a lot of teacher clients, and they are all like super exhausted, because this is a really hard time to be a teacher, but it's also a really hard time to be, I mean, just for anybody,
Mhm.
let alone students. And again, our lives are so structured for the majority of it, that when we get out of that, or, you know, even if you don't go to college and you just go from high school to working and having to, you know, kind of be in the adult world and transitioning into that, that's really hard to do because
Mm-hmm.
we're conditioned to know, okay, I wake up, I go to school, I do this, I do that, I do that. Like our whole day is planned all the
I
time.
would say all our decisions are made for us pretty much, and then all of a sudden one day it's not. And then people look at us crazy when we don't know what to do. It's like, well, for the past 18 years, I have literally been told what to do almost every second of the day. And then I graduate and y'all are looking at me like I got two heads because I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes the transitions, at least for me, that was like really challenging is, you know, now I have to be independent and autonomous and think for myself and decide like, do I want to eat cereal for breakfast? Do I want a cupcake, leftover Chinese food? You
Yes,
know,
you
like
could do that.
what do I do with my life? And even now in adulthood, um, it just sounds so weird to say, like, I'm an adult. In my mind, I'm still a teenager. Um, but life just keeps happening. And I was telling Karlie about this like earlier before we were recording. And it's hard. Life is so hard. I talk about all the time, like, take me back to high school where the my biggest problem was let me pass this class, or how do I make it so I'm valedictorian by the end of high school. Like that was my biggest stressor. And now it's like I got bills, gas is almost $5 a gallon, the world is, you know, crazy and chaotic. Yes, take me
Well,
back.
and it's funny because in 20 years we're going to be saying it again to today. You know, I think about that, like we're going to be 65 one day. And I really don't know what my life's going to look like, and I'm at this point where I'm accepting that I don't know, because I think when I was younger, I thought I was going to be married with kids by now, and now I don't even know if I want children. And so I'm just embracing the unknown, I guess, because maybe I will have a child. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll adopt a child. Maybe I won't even get married. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm tired of forcing it because that's just stressful. So I'm trying to not force it, and whatever happens, happens. And that's what's supposed to be of my life.
Sometimes there's a lot of beauty in not having it planned because we have to plan so many aspects of our lives and there's a lot that we can't control, and even if we do have a plan, life is like, oh, just
Mhm.
kidding, like here's this instead.
I
uh,
was literally going to be like, don't plan life, because life will tell you that you can't plan life.
yes, that has been one of those weeks. This week is like life is like, oh, Shamina, you think you got your shit figured out? Just kidding, here's this and this and this and this, good luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just, that's how it's all. I think it's gonna like continue like that. Like that's life, you
Yeah.
know? But not that that's like yay, but you know.
But I think that's the challenge is how do we appreciate or accept that this is life, or find these moments of joy or gratitude and choose to continue to move forward even though life has all of these unexpected, you know, twists and turns and things that happen. I think if I could go back to my younger self and like give her a piece of advice, it would be not to fucking plan a damn thing because your life will be derailed time and time again, my friend. And you're going to really have a hard time if you keep trying to plan everything.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just gotta sit back and like laugh at yourself of, like, is this really happening to me right now? And like you just like, because I feel like sometimes when you're in really hard moments, like, yeah, feel your emotions, feel your feels, but don't like, just like, is this really freaking happening? Like sometimes I think back now of like just where I'm at right now, like I'm literally single. I thought I was gonna be with that person, and it's just like skirt, like all these changes. But I was thinking, it's so weird when we have these moments, because I was thinking about it walking into the UPS store today, of like how much my life has changed, and just like where I'm at currently. Like I just got off work and I'm just going to the UPS store to make a return to Amazon, and like this is my life, like I feel like it sounds crazy saying it out loud, but like it was just like this moment that I had, like walking into the store, of like I kind of giggled of like, this is my life, like I got off work, I'm running to UPS to turn Amazon. My car stinks for some reason, and I gotta walk my dog when I get home. And yeah.
Yeah. It's surreal.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is.
So.
Look at these cheekbones.
I know. So defined.
Stop it. Okay.
Are you all feeling full yet?
Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you?
We want to know. What do we want to know?
I kind of want you to just sit back and think about life and kind of like giggle about it and like think like, is this where you thought your life would be at this moment? And if so, or if not, if you're open, let us know what you thought it was going to be, what it was, what you were hoping for, whatever you're open for telling. But I don't know, I'm just curious, because like so much changes in a day, in a year, in a month, and I feel like I didn't really understand that concept until this past year, of how much can truly change in a year.
Yeah.
Every day seems the same, and then you look back and so much has changed.
Yeah. Tell us the expectation versus the reality.
Let us know.
And stay tuned for next week, our season 4 finale. Very exciting. I can't believe we've been doing this for 4 seasons. That's crazy.
Yeah, and we're almost coming up on our 1 year.
1 year anniversary.
That just brought me back to think about episode 1.
We should go back and listen to episode 1 as part of our anniversary, because I have not heard it probably since we recorded it, to be completely honest.
Do you want to know, I listened to that episode like 5 times because I was like, should we post this? I don't know. Did I say too much? And I remember reaching out to you, I think like the night before, and I was like, Shamina, I don't know. And I think like you were like, no, it's fine. Like you didn't say anything. But I just remember like I felt like I was putting that person on blast, and I wasn't sure if I was fully there yet to do that. And I just remember like I would lay in bed and just like listen to it on repeat and listen for every word of like, did I say too much? Did I say too much? And now it's like, no joke, listened to that episode I don't know how many times, and now like obviously I know what it was about, but yeah, like you said, it's been so long since I've listened but that's a good idea. Oh my god, I'm gonna have so many thoughts.
Yeah, so stay tuned as we approach the 1 year here, and we'll have some fun things for you all in store.
Yes,
in store for all of you.
Can't wait, and thanks for being on this 1 year journey with us.
Yes, thank you.
I'll say that again on our 1 year actual episode.
Yes. So we will see you all same time, same place next week.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.